Today at Mustang Project, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. One of our show cars, a 1967 Cadillac Eldorado, is in dire need of front disc brakes. We're going to take the drum brakes that came standard on the 67 Eldorado and convert them to disc. Now, one of the things we found it very difficult was finding a kit with all the parts required in one place. Well, we finally located one. And at the end of the video, we'll give you the link to the supplier. Mustang Project doesn't supply this kit. We just build show cars to showcase our LED lighting products. This particular car has a unique tail lighting effect that looks stock, but is really cool, bright, and different. We'll show you that at the end of the video. The kit comes complete with a spindle, which I assume, or so-called knuckle, with hub installed, which I assume is from a 67 or 68 Eldorado or Tornado. Not sure. The kit maker doesn't tell us. Comes with a caliper. Comes with the fittings for the caliper. Comes with the disc. The disc pads. Now we're also going to replace the front CV joints in this car, because once we'll have the car all apart, we might as well do that, as that's a common failure component. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the drum. We do not have to remove the brake assembly. We're then going to remove the lower ball joint bolt and the upper ball joint bolt, and then we're going to pop out both studs and remove the entire spindle and CV joint. So we removed the drum. We do not have to remove the entire brake mechanism. We're simply going to remove this cotter pin and the nut. You will have to use an air impact tool, and you'll have to use the proper drive or a long breaker bar. Don't try to take this off with a crescent wrench or anything like that. This is torqued with over 100 foot-pounds, so it's very tight. We'll remove this steering knuckle nut and secure the joint away here and down at the bottom. Then the entire knuckle will come off. Then we will loosen up the drive shaft from behind. And we'll give you an update after we do those things. Thank you. A very important point to understand is that you must jack up the car so that the weight of the car is on the lower control arm. If you do not do this and attempt to remove the spindle, you have all kinds of terrible things happen. You must have the weight of the control arm on the jack and the control arm basically straight. Now, we've used two jacks, one on the side of the car and one under the control arm, so we can move these up and down as we need to in order to get the parts in and out easily. This is very important. It's critical that this torsion bar spring be compressed, and that way you remove the stress from the ball joints so you can remove the knuckle. Okay, we have removed the nut underneath the upper that secures the upper ball joint and the lower ball joint stud there. By the way, we also wanted to mention that never get under a car without appropriate safety measures. In this particular case, we have a jack stand and two jacks. So even if both jacks fail, the jack stand is rated to hold up the entire car, and both jacks are rated to hold the car. So we never get underneath a car without having two or three supporting devices, at least one of them being a jack stand. That's my personal rule. Next, we will use the puller to remove the lower stud from the ball joint, and you have to use the right size puller for these cars, or else you'll have all kinds of difficulty. We always put the nut almost all the way on, or just covering up the top of the bolt there, the stud, so that it won't mushroom out. Even with the pusher, sometimes that will mushroom. So we screw the nut on and leave it on there during the pulling process. Alright, we also have to remove the old brake line, because we're going to take this opportunity to put a fresh new brake line in, of course. We wouldn't want to put in new disc brakes with the old brake line. We removed the brake line by removing this brake nut from the line. Now, since the car is over 40 years old, most cars of this age, this line is rusted completely to the nut. What we did, and it doesn't always work, but occasionally works, is we soaked this with PB Blaster. It's a great product. 24 hours in advance. We flooded it with PB Blaster, making sure that this area was clean of grease so that it could soak in. Then we came back later and we were able to, believe it or not, break the nut loose. Normally in these cars, you almost always end up rounding the nut in an attempt to loosen it. And in this case, even after 40 years, we were able to get it off. And I think that is due to the fact that we used the PB Blaster and gave it a lot of time to soak in there, and also we cleaned it of all caked on grease so that it could penetrate the threads. So now we're going to remove the drive shaft. There are multiple bolts that hold it around the circumference there, and then we will be able to remove the entire drive shaft. Okay, we've gone ahead and put on new bushings on our sway bar link. Once you have the car all apart, it's best to put new bushings any place that you can easily reach. We decided that the ball joints, although some damage to the seal was there and the lower ball joint had already been replaced. Ball joints are very expensive for this car. It looks like they were in fair enough shape that we decided to use them as is. Perhaps put new seals on. Now we've removed the drive shaft, as you can see, and we're going to replace it next. Okay, so we've got the new CV joint and axle assembly installed in the car. We've got the new sway bar bushings installed. We've cleaned it a little bit. We're about to install our brake hose to caliper assembly. It's always far better to install the hose on the caliper first, and then install the hose to the bracket and fitting back there. And we're going to take this opportunity to apply grease to all our grease fittings, since we've got pressure off the ball joints, and get them nicely greased up, ready for the final installation of the knuckle. So now we've installed the knuckle. You can see that we've attached the upper and lower studs. We have the caliper here, hose attached. At this point, we still have to install the drive shaft bolt and cotter pin. We have to tighten the bolts for each ball joint stud and put cotter pins there, and we have to install the rotor and the caliper. So you should install the rotor first, as the caliper goes over the rotor. So the rotor can simply be placed on like this, and then we'll secure it by putting temporarily one of the wheel lug nuts to hold it in place while we secure the caliper. We're almost finished with this part of the project. So here we have the finished installation of front wheel disc brakes in our 1967 Cadillac Eldorado. To review, we removed the steering knuckle, replaced it with one furnished in the kit. We also replaced the drive shaft, which was not required but something we wanted to do. Then we installed the caliper and the rotor. It's a good time to look at all the bushings and the ball joints. So this kit is unusual in that very few kits of this type are made for 67 Cadillac Eldorados, being a relatively rare car. We're going to, a little bit later on in this video, we're going to show you all the LED products installed on this show car. Essentially 100% LED in this car from stem to stern, excepting the special headlights, which are incandescent. But we'll show you those in a minute, and here's the finished installation overview once again. It is a fairly large job. It's not something that you can tack in a couple of hours. You have to break apart the bottom and top ball joint studs, which takes special tools, and you have to do some heavy lifting, properly brace things. It's a difficult job, but well worth it. We can now drive our car safely to shows and around town as we wish with the far superior disc brakes.